Yes.
And I
You
think
could take the whole open theist timeline
Right.
and make it vertical.
exactly.
And Hunt, I take it, wants to say, you don't have to do that, though. You could have more providential control if you put it vertical.
Well, but then there isn't a providential advantage. But then again, sort of even to call it risky is a bit of a misnomer. God knows a lot about what he's doing. He's choosing to leave some things open, allow free agents to curtail some of the possibilities. But that doesn't seem to conflict with even what I would consider to be a strong view of providence. But what you get there is that simple foreknowledge then still has a couple other advantages. So maybe what motivates is not an advantage in terms of providence, but an advantage in terms of leaving some options open, like what theory of time you want to hold to and God's relationship to time would be left open, as well as taking a more traditional view of omniscience is open. Those seem to be two advantages, and then otherwise, I think you've pointed out that they're very similar in terms of providence.
Yeah, I do take it to be an advantage that you have a traditional notion of omniscience there. And I'm happy not calling this a risky view, so long as you don't call my view risky. Yeah. Because it feels to me like God is essentially in the same position of creating free creatures without information about what they're going to do, or not deciding which ones to create, not on the basis of information about what they're going to do. And so, in a way, being open to disappointment.
So what's the advantage of open theism?
That's a topic for another paper. No, I mean, it fits better with my view about the nature of time, and I don't think that it's theologically inferior. And so, given those two things, yeah, it would, because I really want no fact of the matter about future contingents.
Go ahead.
Aideen,
Hi,
this is
Dan.
a question about omniscience and whether open theists or the simple foreknowledge people that you present in your paper can say God is omniscient. And I think the answer is open theists can, and the simple foreknowledge can, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
And simple foreknowledge people cannot, at least in the way you present it. And here's why I think that. So you ask an open theist, is God omniscient? He says yes. You say, well, he doesn't know the future. And he responds, it's not there to be known. There's nothing that God doesn't know that he could know. Okay, now ask the simple foreknowledge person you present. As I understand it, the simple foreknowledge person has two different ways for God to, as you put it, query the future. One thing he can do is create the situation and then see what truths pop up out of the creation of the situation. And so prior to creating the situation, you can ask him, hey, what would Adam do in the situation? And if he hasn't created the situation, he can say, there's just no truth there to be known. I'm in the same boat as the open theist here. We both say, God knows everything that could be known. This just isn't something to be known yet until I put him in the situation. Then there's a second way the simple foreknowledge guy has. You say he can unroll the scroll a bit. He can look and see what truth values or what truths occur on both the left and right side of the branching. So he can create the world, put Adam in the situation, wonder what he should do next, and then look a bit further with a selective query and see what truths appear on both sides of the branching. In that case, there's no further action he has to do. He could just, if he wants, look further and see what truths appear on both sides. And you put it like this, he could query if he wanted to. He could ask about the future if he'd like. But in that situation, if it's just a could and not a must, then it's going to be possible that there be truths that God could know, namely these truths about the future that appear on both sides of the branching, that he doesn't in fact know. He could find them out if he wanted to. They're there to be known, and he doesn't know them. And so in that case, it would appear that the simple foreknowledge person's God wouldn't be omniscient, but the open theist's God would be omniscient.
I don't think the simple foreknowledge person should say that there are facts there to be known on the fork not taken. And we have, I'm using this sort of, this model of God's querying the future with respect to a question. But this is really just, it's not just anthropomorphizing. It's what we should really think of. We should really think of these bits of foreknowledge as sort of falling into place. And if you have a simple foreknowledge view, which is just the mirror image or the vertical version of open theism, the balls all fall in this sort of pattern. It's like you've got a tower with a bunch of levels, and there's holes of different sizes, and the smallest balls go to the bottom. That's the necessary truths and stuff like that. And they just sort of sort themselves out naturally. For every world, where if you think of the world as just the events and who causes them, for every world, there's just one way in which these can be ordered. But I think Hunt has the picture that you could have the same series of events caused by the same beings, God and creatures, and God has a choice about some of the levels, which balls will be on which level. And so, but he can't just choose to find out anything that could happen. I mean, he can ask, is Adam eating apples at such and such a time, if it's already settled that he's going to make apples and they're going to be in the garden, and on either branch there will be an opportunity to eat them. But if on one branch Adam's eating apples, and on the other branch he's not, I mean, the other branch doesn't really exist. So God can't sort of ask, well, what would have happened? He can get information about Adam's eating apples if there's a way for it to come about on either side, so it doesn't sort of create an explanatory circle.
Sure, so we could get it if it comes up on either side.
Yeah, but if it's just on one side, yeah, God can't get an answer to that. And so the answer is not there to be gotten. So it's not something that he could know but fails to know.
That's the first case I mentioned. The second case is, you say in your paper, so far so good, it would appear that God can move from S1 to S2 by making selective use of his foreknowledge, so long as P's truth is consistent with God's choosing either L or R. Yeah. You talk about that being a query he could perform if he wants to. He could choose to see this selected truth. And if it's the case that he could choose to see it, he could choose not to see it, he could go either way, then it seems like it's there to be known in this case, and he's not, and he can know it, or he cannot know it. And if it's possible for him to not know something there to be known, then he's not omniscient.
Well, P will be known at a later stage, if it's true. The question is just which stage it gets known at. And I take it the simple foreknowledge picture that I was trying to develop there is one where God has a choice about which stage, at which stage does he get this. But if it's true, he'll get it eventually, and there's just a choice about when. So I think there isn't something there that God could know, but doesn't.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm happy to say we have finished on time. So let's take a 15-minute break, and the next session will start. With Nick Woldersdorf's talk at 3:30.